If you're a musician, should you have one or two YouTube channels? Be more specific. Should you have one channel with everything, your music, your videos, etc.? Or should you have two channels? One is just your music, the second is your other type of videos. Now, this is something that I had to personally go back and forth about a lot for my own personal brand. And in case you're curious, I actually decided to split them up. I had one channel just be about my music, another channel, or actually channels, because I have numerous different YouTube channels, be about other types of videos. Here's the big question you have to ask yourself, and this is something I've been asked about a lot as YouTube has gotten so popular, and also YouTube is a great tool for musicians to really get their music out there. Here's what it really comes down to. Are the types of videos you're doing, in addition to your music, similar enough or correspond with your brand enough that they could go on one channel? If not, or let's say this is a personal choice you want to make, do you want to keep those two brands separate? Now take, let's say, a musician like Dylan Francis, right? Huge into EDM. His YouTube channel is mostly his music, of course, right? He's a musician, but he also has some really funny sketches, some funny bits, right? He's a great comedian, but it goes with his brand. Dylan Francis's brand is doing funny videos and doing his music, so it really goes with his brand. Someone like Laidback Luke does a bunch of videos about DJing and music production, but he also is huge into martial arts and Kung Fu. So he has Kung Fu videos on his YouTube channel. That works with his brand because that's Laidback Luke. However, other musicians, I'll use myself as an example here, I have videos that are really about, let's say, video production or about cryptocurrency or about business and accounting. That, yeah, maybe that is myself because I'm into those things, but they don't really relate to my music. They don't really relate to my brand. So that's a big thing you have to ask yourself is, what do you want to be known for when it comes to the music portion of your business? For Dylan Francis and Laidback Luke, that works for them because that's their brand. A lot of other musicians now are doing random vlogs. Like, let's say you're going to a show and do a vlog about a city because you're on tour. Well, that really does go with your brand, and that makes sense to put it on the same YouTube channel. Let's say you have your vlogs of shows and events and traveling, and you have your music. That makes complete sense. The biggest thing you really have to figure out is, do you want those two types of content to be known together? Jaws, for example, he actually has music production tutorials on his YouTube channel and his music. And that actually works because, hey, he's a musician. He likes listening to other people's music and critiquing it, so that works for him as well. That is the biggest thing, is it all comes down to branding. The second thing you also have to think about, and this is for me the big kind of make or break that allowed me to make this decision for me personally, is, are you a musician, are you a YouTuber, or are you both? So for me, when people say, hey Mark, what do you do, right? The classic kind of opening line, my main answer is I'm an electronic musician and a YouTuber. I don't say, oh, I'm just a musician. I don't say, oh, I'm just a YouTuber. I say I'm both. So it makes sense to have two different channels because some of my channels don't even relate at all to my music. I'm both a musician and YouTuber. I upload about 1 to 3 videos a day. I'm constantly filming. I absolutely love YouTube. And I actually now have 7 different YouTube channels, which I know is a lot, right? But they're about different things. So for you, what I'd ask you is, if let's say you're a musician first, you're like, look, I'm all in on music. That's really all I want to do. Anything I'd film to put on YouTube would in some way, shape, or form relate to my music. So let's say you're traveling, you're on tour, you're touring for music, you check out a cool restaurant. You do a video review of that restaurant. Well, let's say if you start off by saying, hey guys, right now I'm in, I don't know, Boston, Massachusetts, and I'm gonna go to Blue Ribbon Barbecue. Great barbecue place, by the way. I'm gonna go to Blue Ribbon Barbecue. You know, I'm about to perform tonight at Royale Nightclub. I'm gonna check out Blue Ribbon first. You know, the barbecue here is amazing. I love the sauce, blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, maybe the nature of that video is about food, but the overall arcing concept behind it is you're on tour, you're traveling for music, you're experiencing new things. That, in my opinion, all relates to music. However, though, let's say you make specific videos just about cooking. You like to do cooking techniques and tips and tricks and how-tos when it comes to cooking, and they're very square. They're very educational and very technical. And let's say in one video, you say, hey everybody, for this video, I'm gonna show you how to properly sharpen a knife when you're cooking. Now that video let's say you go through it and it's very educational about how to sharpen it, I don't know anything about it, right? But if you do that, in my opinion, it doesn't completely relate to your music. Now, if you want to be known as a cook and a musician, okay, I guess that makes sense. But let's say if you have a bunch of videos all about these very specific things about cooking, I would suggest have 2 different channels. Now, if you think about it, the Blue Ribbon barbecue video that I talked about earlier, let's say if you're on tour and you're in Boston, and the sharpening a knife video are both about cooking. They're both related to food. However, the overall, like I said, idea and concept of this video, even though it's about food, is embedded in this idea of traveling, touring, and music. The video about sharpening a knife is a very educational, how-to-based video that really doesn't completely relate to music. This is where it can get tricky, and depending on your brand, and branding is unbelievably important, you really have to make this decision for yourself. So coming back to it, 2 main things again to recap this video, because I know I went kind of all over the place, but this is very important. One is, what do you want your brand to be? Layback Luke, to use him again as an example, focuses on Kung Fu in his videos and his music. That is his brand. Dylan Francis has his music and comedy sketches and bits. That is his brand. So the first thing is, what do you want your brand to be? Maybe I wouldn't suggest doing cooking and music in the same channel, but maybe for you that works. Maybe you say, hey guys, right now I'm gonna cook a great chicken parmesan. I love chicken parmesan. And I'm gonna play you some of my new songs in the background. For example, Gesture, who's another DJ, he actually cooks for some of his shows. I went to one of his shows here in LA. He cooked these amazing, amazing tacos and then performed afterwards. That was pretty cool. In a sense, that was his own branding idea and own branding concept, and it worked really well. So the first thing is branding. The second thing is, what do you want to be known for? If, let's say, you're only into music, I would suggest having just one channel. However, let's say you're like me and you're like, you know what, Mark? I actually do love video editing. I love filming and video production. I love YouTube, and I love music. Maybe it's best to keep those separate. Focus on one brand of the YouTube side of you, and focus on the other brand as the music side of you.